2 brutal races done so far this weekend. Now we've got instalment number 3 in New Zealand. It's a great start off the front row together for Di Pasquale and for Kostecki. Anton tries to go around the outside, but he's run wide. He's critically run wide. He'll drop a bunch of spots on a cold tyre, and it's going to pop back in about 6th or 7th. And that is a disaster and trouble here also, unfortunately, for car number 26. What a horror story there for Kai Allen after qualifying so well. Unbelievable. And young Ryan Wood's putting plenty of pressure on. We knew that he was going to be aggressive, but he has made it work in the opening stanza. He goes from the inside there at position 3. He lines up in behind Kostecki, and he knows what track position is like. Now he's almost alongside. He's going to run down the outside at turn 9. He's going to run him wide. He has. He's pushed him into the grass. He turns back. He's going to lead this race, but on the inside, Cam Hill grabs them both. Wild stuff. So for those battling off the front row of the grid, they've not yet completed lap number 1. They've had their ears boxed, and they're already back in the pack. Profit here for Cam Hill. What a story. How aggressive was Ryan in that opening lap. And Kostecki has gone down the order into position number 7. Front row of the grid, Di Pasquale is now 6th. Kostecki is 7th. So the reordered sequence here at the end of the first flying lap is extraordinary. Cam Hill, who was victorious in Melbourne, goes to the lead from Matthew Payne, from Ryan Wood, who was right in the thick of it as they get to the end of the standing lap, from Randall, from Heimgartner, Di Pasquale, Kostecki, Golding, Brown, up a couple of spots, then Mostert in 10th. It's on down the inside of turn 1 as Randall gets up the inside of Wood. They lock horns. It's sill panel to sill panel down there. Have a look at the replay of the start. It was a very even run for both Brodie and for Anton down into turn 1, but watch Anton on the dirtier side of the road, couldn't get a turn in. He had his foot on the brake. It's run wide, so he's immediately dropped a bunch of spots there and tries to slot back in. Here's the view from the drone from further back in the pack, and you can imagine with 180 metres down to turn 1, there's not much room to manoeuvre, and they all just dive into, in some cases, spots that don't exist down there. You can see Anton in the yellow DeWalt entry try to scramble back on, and trouble for Kai Allen in the middle of that pack as he got turned. I think you're fine. It might have been Mostert. So this is on board with Ryan Wood, and you watch it here. Anton tried to outbrake Brodie, just outbraked himself, locked the wheel and went off. On the inside of Ryan Wood, you'll see Thomas Randall emerging, and in behind there, you saw Kai Allen going around. There was a bit of contact, I'm thinking it was with Mostert. This is the really wild one. And he was right alongside him. No drama with being alongside him. But then Brodie overcommitted to turn 9 and went off by himself. And I actually didn't realise when I was watching Anton run wide at turn 1, Brodie was very, very wide down there as well, because they were both in a braking duel on a cold tyre. And then this was a nice move by Thomas Randall to displace Ryan Wood down there at the end of the first flying lap and get himself up into 3rd. So he's got a bit of fresh air that he can deal with now. Now we've got a chase on for the lead between Hill and Payne as Cam just goes down into turn 1 and closes off any margin, but he might be vulnerable here. We've got a bird's eye view of what could be a change for the lead as they approach turn number 2. Payne's on the wrong side of the road. He has to clear the throttle. That allows Randall to have a sniff at this as well as they continue to work on the run towards the right-hander at 4, and he's got his nose up in there. He pushes and shoves. There's rocks and rubber flying everywhere, and Payne is now the new leader. Hill displaced, and now Randall gets his elbows into the game, and he might be into position 2. And Ryan Wood. So there's a form and orderly cue, because he's tried to fire himself down the inside afterwards also. That could not have been better positioning for us to see the drama through turn 2, 3 and 4. We were right there with a bird's eye view to watch the chaos of those flowing right-left slalom corners and the way that Matt Payne was able to get by in the end. And that was great motor racing, hard, tough motor racing, and what a privilege for us to ride every millimetre of that. Felt like you're in the car. Payne, Randall, Hill, Wood with 5 seconds hovering over him. And they're still scattering all around the back straight here at the moment, trying to find an ideal passage. So it all started here when Hill had to try and cover into 1 because Payne got a very good exit off the final corner. And watch this sequence through 2, 3, and then ultimately 4 when they all start getting into the rocks. This is 3. And watch this stuff. Tries to bomb it down the inside. Gets enough of it up there. There's a bit of hip and shoulder in the process. Stuff flying everywhere, and Randall got some profit out of that as well. Here's the view from external. and they are driving innately. That's just all about your senses at this point. There's no strategy involved. See a gap, go for it, hustle, and see what you can pop out the other side. And he just touched past his way down the inside and was able to get it done. Awesome stuff. Wild motor racing, great entertainment. Down between Brody and Andre, and it's just unsettling the back of the RJ Batteries entry through turn 11.
Good job, mate. Keep that pressure
See what?
We're 15 to believe this one part. We're going to get a nice level up on these guys. We're stopping early. Keep it up.
So George Commons on the radio talking to Brodie Kostecki as we watch Brodie just negotiating this final little complex where things got pretty crazy yesterday.
That was Cam Hill going off to the right for his stop.
From position number 3, he's come in.
Yep.
So a few people actually flinching a little bit earlier than some of the chat, and Anton De Pasquale follows. And actually another car just coming in here as well, which includes Jackson Evans. You see them in the background, just on the top of screen there. There's Anton. Beautiful job in qualifying. Ran wide at turn 1. Lost some ground. That was a good stop.
That was a good stop. So that number we've got for Will Brown is a 5.5 second stop for 4 tyres.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautifully done.
Tremendous work, isn't it? Just all the teams have continued to refine that process. Not an easy process at these sprint events with how they manage the guns, and Mark Larkin's done some explanation of what's involved in that. And that is quite a mission, and they are not easy things to handle as he runs back out onto the racetrack. And on De Pasquale on a cold tyre now, he's got to get himself back into the rhythm here, and we'll see what his pace looks like relative to those up the front, remembering that they'll get some benefit from the undercut. Here we go with Brodie up the inside 11. He gives him a rat-a-tat-tat on the way out the other side, and he'll clear it.
He's the quickest car on track. We'll probably keep 2.
So he set that up. He set that up with a differing line in the brake approach between the kink and turn 11. He moved the car out slightly and then turned back. So he effectively did like a crisscross in the middle of the corner and was able to get the car up the inside in the middle of turn 11. Nicely done, well orchestrated, nice car positioning, and a really nice pass. A little bit of a bump, that doesn't matter.
Payne's in. So that's also to just cover off anybody that goes for an undercut.
What was the confusion then with the light?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at all those numbers. There's a few cars that have done early 6s, like Cam Hill with a 6.3, Bryce Bull with a 6.2, but nobody else in the 5s. And that Matt Payne stop was at 8.5 just then.
Come out in front of Cam Waters, and Cam sitting in 15. So yeah, it's in that midfield zone. Once he drops back in, I think he's going to get snipped by Cooper Murray. Maybe not. Could hang on the inside. Certainly once he gets a... Oh, that happened between the two of them at Eastern Creek as well. Remember that Feeney and Murray got together at Sydney Motorsport Park. And once those tyres come up, then there will be no stopping Brock, but he's got to get there while they're cold at the moment. It's hard work, and he gets another little nudge, and they're queuing up behind him at the moment. It's getting wild out there at the moment as the pressure builds, and Feeney will be desperate to try and get these tyres to work so that he can get the pressure off his back and just get away from all the chaos. And now they're bringing it in. Not the quickest car in the last several laps. We've been talking a lot about Feeney, but on average, sitting at the front of the field, this thing's been pristine.
So big decision for Red Bull Ampol Racing as to what they do with Feeney now.
Nice and square in the box.
So these guys are also reacting. I mean, they've got a cushion, but they're also reacting to protect. The cushion's handy, though.
Nicely on the marks.
Takes a bit of the pressure off. That was an excellent stop.
Yep, nice stop. Is that Feeney or Brown in the background? Brown. Someone, was that Cooper Murray?
Yes, it was.
That was an ugly entry and a bit later. You could hear the tyres all screeching. Fresh tyres too, by the look.
Yeah, it actually looked like it was fuel that actually held that car then.
Yeah. Well, he did, remember, it was very low.
Yeah, that's right.
Only 28 litres.
Remember that Brodie was the first of the 4 front runners that we called coming in for the second stop. So it's about 13 k's difference. And here we go, crisscross at turn 1, and he's done it with relative ease. There's not even a touch between them. You were talking up Armageddon. So it was all gentlemanly rules. Brad McPherson, Jack Bell in conversation. Alistair McVeigh on the right-hand side, keeping an eye on the monitor. Garth Tander lurking in the background. 3.5 second gap between Payne and Hill. 4.7 seconds then back to Mostert. We are on our last lap. This is going to be pretty special for the young fella that crosses the line first. Meantime, back here, this one's going to go to the last corner, isn't it? Hard to take your eyes off it. It's been a great battle and a big recovery. Is he going to be able to get there? He's having a lunge, and he's giving him a little whack, and have a look at the bite out of the right rear corner of it. So he's giving him a fair nudge there, caved the thing in. He's doing everything he can to try and recover. It's got the tyre rubbing on the guard now on the R&J Batteries entry. That was a pretty decent thump at turn 4.
Yeah, he committed to it, didn't he? He didn't actually have the space at that point. So watch this. Bang, straight down the inside, bang! And he hits him very narrow.
Here's the man that has done an outstanding job all weekend for Penrite Racing. He is in the last 3 corners now with a margin in his pocket of 3.3 seconds. And New Zealand has loved every millimetre of this drive by young Matt Payne, who wins the Jason Richards Trophy and picks up his 2nd victory at Taupō this weekend.
He won. Awesome way. You've won the JR Trophy, mate, and you have won the race today. Mega job. Permission granted. Permission granted.
Permission granted to hammer it. Just look after the car was the last little bit of the message there. But big congratulations to everybody at Penrite Racing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, man, we had to work hard for that one. Oh, did we? That was so good. Thank you so much, guys.
What a ripping performance. What a great job he's done today.
That was a great job. Absolutely superb, Matthew Payne. And his 4th career victory. And to do that on home soil and to win the Jason Richards Memorial Trophy. You can see there David Couchy and the rest of the guys, the level of exuberance, the way that they all worked so hard to be able to get a result. And that young Kiwi, wow, how cool is that on home soil to take the victory.
Payne over Hill, in the end just a whisker over 3 seconds. Chaz Mostert gets onto the podium again. Brodie Kostecki home for 4th, despite whatever the issues may have been with that car from Randall, from Heimgartner, who survived the attack from Brock Feeney in the closing laps. There's a little question mark over Will Brown in 8th. We'll try and follow that up for you. Then Will Davison and James Golding. There's also going to be, folks, a post-race investigation between what happened with Will Davison and Ryan Wood. Something must have occurred